Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Zed. Today, I do want to talk about OEG, Orbital Energy Group. I hope by the end of this video you're able to know a lot more about it. So this video will be broken down towards due diligence, news, bit of fundamentals, followed by technical analysis. So without further ado, let's jump right into this one. So OEG, Orbital Energy Core. First thing I do want to cover is a quick glimpse on their website here. OEG is a publicly traded company dedicated to maximizing the shareholder value through the acquisition and development of innovative companies to create a diversified energy infrastructure services platform. OEG's group of business includes Orbital Gas Systems, Orbital Power Services, Orbital Renewables, and Orbital Solar Services, and Eclipse Foundation Group, a subsidiary of Orbital Foundation Services. You're able to take a look into some of their companies. As we mentioned, the Orbital Gas Systems, Power Services, Solar Services, Renewables, and Foundational Services. Now, the next thing we do want to cover is some of the latest news. Now, this one we've been hit by at 8 a.m. in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. One of the most interesting and important news regarding this one here is OEG's Group Incorporation recently acquired a subsidiary, Gibson Technical Services, reaches an agreement with TEC on 700-mile engineering and construction process or project across central Mississippi. So this is the TEC. It will be completed over the next 4 years, and it's been awarded this project. GTS began first engineering back in April 2021 for this project, and the construction slated to start in June 2021, so in the coming month. And the RDOF extends the Federal Commission FCC Connect America Fund CAF and will provide $20.4 billion in funding over a 10-year period to support the broadband network in rural communities across the country. The partnership between TEC and GTS creates one of the first RDOF rural builds to be started in the US. So this is one of the first. Hopefully there's more to come, and hopefully as well that OEG would actually benefit from that. The current market cap for OEG is $177 million. Now, if you were to just go ahead and give a random number and estimate a little bit towards that 700 miles with a $20.4 billion funding, you're able to see that the potential here can be massive. Really depends how they play it. And that's just one of their projects itself. Now, if we go a little bit further back, you're able to see a bit of their first quarter 2021 financial results. And the first quarter revenue increased by 67% year over year as a total backlog grew to $62.1 million. And some other highlights, including and not limited to, reported total revenue of $9.5 million for the first quarter of 2021, a 67% increase compared to $5.7 million for the first quarter of 2020. A gross loss was $1.3 million for the first quarter of 2021 compared to a gross profit of $0.6 million for the first quarter of 2020. And they do explain that the decrease was attributable to ramp-up cost at Orbital Power Services, startup cost at Eclipse Foundation Group, as well as the addition of Orbital Solar Services. So they took a hit there on money, cash flow, just relating towards scaling up their business. Now, the company expects improvement in margin during 2021 as Orbital Services continues to gain efficiencies and increase revenue. Orbital Telecom Services starts to contribute, larger Orbital Solar Services solar project begins, and companies continue to learn and cope with COVID-19 pandemic. Now, the operating loss was $17.3 million for the first quarter compared to $7.1 million for the first quarter of 2020, mainly due to the higher CG&A expenses associated with Orbital Solar and Orbital Power Services, startup costs for Eclipse Foundation Group, and $2.6 million of employee and director stock-based compensation. The current held cash and cash equivalent is $34.7 million and restricted cash of $1.2 million as of the end of March 2021. The total backlog was $62.1 million as of March 31st, 2021, and up from $40.4 million from December 31st, 2020, reflecting a backlog growth across both operations segments. Now, another thing here is that launched Eclipse Foundation Group, a drill shaft foundation construction company that specializes in providing services to the electric and transmission substation, industrial, etc., and they raised $45 million through equity, and they also took in control an acquisition of 100% of Gibson Technical Services that is based in Atlanta for communication company or telecommunication company providing diversified telecommunication services nationally since 1990. Now, quick thing through the presentation, I'll try to highlight some of the most important key parts. I think this one here we already have done, but some of the most important key lights from milestones. Q1 2020, they launched Orbital Power Services providing electric transmissions and distribution services. Q2 2020, acquired Reach Construction Group, a wholly minority-owned premier provider of engineering, procurement, and construction services to utility-scale solar customers. Q3 2020, renamed Reach Construction Group as Orbital Solar Services. Q4 2020, signed MSA with Midwestern investor-owned utility, expected to increase Orbital Power revenue by 30% on an annualized basis. The Q1 2021 launched Eclipse Foundation Group, a drill shaft foundation construction company. In Q2 2021, they acquired the Gibson company, as I mentioned earlier. Now, there's a lot of other things, including explanations of some of the most important keystones or milestones for each of these subsidiaries and parts of the company. For instance, Orbital Power Services is a Dallas-based company launched in the first quarter of 2020, and they are having service utilities for customers primarily in the south and the southern western states in the United States. Greenfield operations focus on providing constructions and maintenance of high voltage transmission disruptions, substations, and emergency responses. And you're able to see how they're operating in general. You move on to other slides that are, I guess, substantial, but one thing that I do want to look at is the vision forward. And the vision forward here is split to 5 parts. Drive organic growth, complete new targeted acquisition, contribute to reducing the carbon footprint, and social responsibility. First off, organically grow to capitalize on infrastructure, 5G, and solar. Leverage synergies across companies and drive ESG platform across organizations. Complete new or targeted acquisitions. Acquire and build out from platform companies to expand geographic footprint and services offering. Now, the other one here, contribute to reducing the carbon footprint. Leading APC services provider building utility scale projects, etc. And social responsibility that speaks for itself. Now, for targeted acquisitions. Platform acquisition includes electric power T&D, telecommunications, solar, deep foundations, renewable, and natural gas. Tuck-in acquisitions rapidly build up scale, increase geographic footprint, and expanding existing capabilities. Now, the other things I do want to talk about quickly is relating towards their SEC filing. They do have on the backlog an ability to send out $150 million of shares out. Now, their current entire market cap is $177 million. Their total current assets sits around a little bit north of $94 million, actually $95 million, south of that, compared to $66 million from the last quarter. So that's a good increase relating towards their offerings. The current liabilities is $50.8 million. And if we were to take a look at the cash, almost $5 million, they're able to pay a majority of their liability right off the bat. But on honest opinion, it probably is a lot easier to just raise an offering, etc., including from that $150 million shelf that they have in order to pay off their entire debt. And I've seen a lot of companies do that. Now, when we go on a little bit further towards GTS, you're able to see here GTS's website, but I'm not going to go through that today. And if you'd like to see more contents like this, make sure to click that like button down below. And if you'd like to join us, basically watch more of my videos, on the bottom right, you can click the subscribe button and turn notifications on. If you'd like to join our Discord, just click show more. The link is in the description below. Totally free. Now, in terms of institutional buyers, what we get to see is continuously bullish action with additions of thousands of shares in May specifically as well. Now, June, which is just today, starting June 1st, we don't have much information other than a few additions relating to index funds. Now, a quick thing, fundamentally speaking, their EPS next year is expected to be 129% higher than what it is right now. However, if we were to look into things like price over book and price over sales, it's already, even with the push higher to 772, it is on par with what you see on the averages of the market in general, being 3 and 4 respectively, and you get to see that that is the case. Now, I've seen stocks that go all the way up to 80, etc., so there is room to grow there. Forward P over E is actually very bullish, and the sales quarter per quarter is as well bullish at 66.70. Now, there's other things, for instance, like their past fundamentals, but we're not going to look into this one because they're being a bit more of a different company starting off forward. So without further ado, let's move on towards technical analysis. Now, from a technical analysis standpoint, keep in mind today's massive bullish kicker will almost move everything towards the bullish side, which is definitely a good thing. Now, between the 10 SMA and the 30 EMA, everything looks bullish. 50 SMA is above 200 SMA, and this move itself is giving the 80X more of a stabilization to kind of give you an idea that there is a very strong trend happening right now at 31.77. William percent R shows it's highly, extremely overbought. That's just relative to the few days before in terms of volumes, but it just gives you an indication that there's a lot of people that are buying the stock then selling it. Now, on the MACD, we're seeing a massive jump on the histogram, which is definitely bullish, and the histogram line or the MACD line is above the signal line, which is another bullish thing. Momentum is at 473, one of the strongest it's ever been. Now, in terms of stochastic fast and stochastic slow, both are signaling that there is a very strong possibility that there's another leg up. Today's volume is the highest volume ever recorded, which is massive. I think the next one would be somewhere around 49 million shares. Today is around 226 million shares, almost 227 million shares, which is really massive, an indication for a bullish movement, and almost a massive reversal is almost guaranteed at this level. Now, another thing that we do want to look at is significant lines of supports and resistances that we can expect algorithms to play around and perhaps buy and sell around those levels. So the current support level on the Fibonacci retracement is 709, below there 583, below there 456, and below there 299. Significant resistances include the 890 level and 1120 on the Fibonacci retracement. Now, from a price line action, you're seeing a very strong resistance at the 772, above there 816, above there 885, and going upwards to 942, following that 990. Significant support 710, below there 665, below there 622, going down to 564, going downwards to 469, downwards to 355, going a little bit further to 295 and 183. Comes to the question to Ed, what do you think about this stock? Well, I thought that this would be actually the channel that's going forward, or actually downwards with, and it definitely broke this channel, and this is a new trend. And so from this one here, I expect a couple of things happening in the next few months. I do expect increased volatility. The next day, of course, will dictate how far are we going from here on. Now, currently, in the after hours, we broke the $8 already, tested it, and we're moving forward. I do think that this one might actually be a multi-day event, or at least at this level, it doesn't look so expensive compared to its relative peers in the market. So imagine this, a stock goes 120% in one day, and it's still somewhat equivalent to what you see in the market in general to its peers. So it looks like, in general, I don't see it going back in $3 anytime soon, and I do think it has a lot of potential to continue its strength. What do you think about this ticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like, and have a wonderful day. Now, if you made it this far into the video, I do recommend that you go ahead and join our Discord server. There's a lot of amazing folks in here. We do a lot of discussions here into the trading floor throughout the day. A lot of people are in there, and we do ask questions. You can ask me any question you would like on there. We do post research and DDs, and we hold weekly chat sessions. And we also do have a lounge in there. So make sure to actually join that and join the fun there. Have a wonderful day and a good one.